Hey there, Dom. How we
Oh,
doing,
hey.
sir?
Hey, Eric, how are you?
I'd be better if that stupid shoe was put away. Let's just be honest. Let's get this out in the open right now. Come on. Just do you
I'm
just
just
carry that thing around with you?
no, it's here. I'm getting ready for school. I'm doing some, the shoes in the office
Cleaning.
in the studio. It's training camps opened up. I'm getting ready for the race of the regions coming up here later in the fall. It's getting ready for school, getting ready,
Get
all kinds of stuff going on. Get
three,
decompressing
three
from
months away,
KTI.
dude. 3 months away. You're killing me. So listen, now I know the real reason why you guys always win it, because you wear it during the day and you've sweated in it, so it stinks. So nobody wants to have that trophy.
I wear socks with it though. I do wear socks with it.
Yes,
I
when
don't
they're
go
not being used
barefoot.
as puppets. Yes, I hear. All right, yeah, we got so a lot of exciting stuff. You got training camp. Where are the Steelers training at? Are they at? Is it
St. Vincent. They're back up at St. Vincent. They've been there
okay?
for I don't know over I don't know 50 some years, if not longer.
Yeah.
Um, Good camp. They're going to win the Super Bowl according to all the insers in the press. Um,
There are 32 teams winning the Super Bowl right now,
yes,
according to every armchair quarterback in America. That
yes.
is true.
All the Pittsburgh power rankings, the Steelers are number one. If you don't agree with it, you're not a Steeler fan. Pirates, I don't know so much. I heard they trade my neighbors. My neighbors were out back. They traded some guys today at the deadline. I don't know who they traded.
A
But
lot of stuff.
lot
All
of
right. Well, hey,
stuff.
listen, we got football going. A lot of news out of Dolphins camp. Ramsey's a little injured, dinged up, but watching all the stuff with the Eagles, with the Ravens, I got to keep track of all of it so I know, what kids to bust their chops when the school year starts, depending on what team alliances there are in my classroom. So it's always important. But so a lot of NFL stuff rolling, and PACT kind of had like their own little Super Bowl event kind of just
Yeah.
recently. What do you think?
It was pretty cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So I think we should really take some time maybe to talk about that time. So I think
We could. It is Tuesday after all.
it is Tuesday, and happy August 1st. It's August.
Yes.
So, but yeah, it's the first Tuesday of the month. So I think it's time for something.
Time for the
PACT pod. Let's hit it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is a lovely August evening, first Tuesday of the month, and welcome to the PACT pod. My name is Eric Verno. I am the very fortunate, blessed to be the vice president of PACT, and joined with me, as always,
Dom Salvucci. I'm the regional director of the Southwest region of PAECT.
Just amazing. Can you believe episode 32? Nobody's canceled us yet. We're still on the air.
We're good.
All right.
We're good. No hooks, no cancellations.
Wait for the gong to play in the corner. It hasn't happened. That's good. So a lot of great stuff happened in PACT. Just such an amazing organization. Has really been rocking this summer. And yeah, and I mean, so there's been a lot of talk in our camp. We got people are switching over to Blue Sky. We've got all sorts of amazing stuff kind of kicking off. We've got PACT members that don't have good taste. Missy, I thought better of you. And yeah, so a lot of stuff flying. So it's there's just so many awesome things, so many great things happening. What do you think?
Oh, it's been a very hectic summer. We had ISTE. We had before the ISTE we had the board meeting, State College, ISTE. Then I know the staff for KTI was busy all spring, almost all year. 11 months, going full bore, and that rolled into KTI. I was fortunate enough to be up there for a couple days, and as we get ready to go back to school, we have another board meeting coming up. And
a lot of stuff. And I think we should spend some time really talking about KTI. And if we're going to talk about the summit, really, we need to have the summit authority on the show. So I think we need to make sure to pull in a special guest. What do you think?
I think that would be best.
All right, here we go. All right, here he is, Scott Snyder. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing well, boys. How are you?
Good.
Doing well. This might be the first time we've had you on the pod.
This is the first time I've been on the pod.
See the trick, Dom. don't give them a lot of time to think.
Yes.
Hit them with it real quick and then already have them listed. And it worked this time. It worked. His people didn't have to worry about getting back to me.
I always defer to the other lead learners and the stars. So I've avoided it for 30 episodes.
Yeah, it's all right. 32. It's the magic. We hit the sweet spot. All right. So talk to us a little bit about, that little emblem you have on your shirt there, little KTI action. What is the KTI Summit?
The KTI Summit is it's the culminating event of a program that's existed for coming up on 20th anniversary since it all started off. But it's comes after a nomination from the building or the district level, and then an application, and then people get invited. The best of the applications get invited to Summit. So it's a week-long commitment at a very low cost, and people get a chance to be there and experience, I guess everybody refers to it, the magic that is KTI Summit. So.
Yeah, definitely. So all the nominations are rolling, and they tend to open up earlier and earlier every year, huh? I believe.
Yeah, they are not open yet for 2024, but they will be somewhat soon.
And I get one of the big things to say is for any past star, any past lead learner, once the word gets out, because you tend to notify all of us, hey, it's opening. It's it's really our job to be that mouthpiece to push before email blasts get sent out to different people along the state, but for us to really reach out to people in our building, say, hey, it's open. You can put, nominate people.
Yeah, absolutely. And, along with the responsibility of a nomination, I always encourage people that not only should they nominate somebody that seems to be on the cutting edge or already starting to innovate in their classroom, which is great to recognize their accomplishments for that, but also look for somebody that's able to attend the summit, which is always the last full week of July. In any given year. So that's always, I think, an important piece, because if you nominate somebody and they can't come to Summit, then you kind of have almost a wasted nomination out there in my eyes. But
right. Yeah. And I know in my building, my principals pretty much point blank say, they have a couple people in mind and they'll go through and pick the one that year that can make it. And not that it always happens, because one of our picks this year had a torn MCL, so she wasn't able to make it. So things like that do come up, and you're right. Yeah. It's really important not just to get that nomination, that acknowledgement, but really to come to Summit to kind of finish it off is huge.
Yep, absolutely. So, and of course, if anybody that's ever been nominated to be a Keystone can choose to attend Summit at any point in time, even if they've never applied. So there's always the benefit of that as well. We've had a couple of recent examples of people that were nominated during PDE's running of the Keystone PDE and the intermediate units running of KTI from 2004 to 2010, and they waited until just recently to take advantage of their opportunity to apply for and attend the summit. So since we've got several thousand nominees out there, any of them could at any point in time reach out to me and find out how they could apply for the upcoming summit.
Yeah, and that's, even just advocating for yourself. If you know this is going, a teacher down the hall went, their experience, and going in and saying, hey, would you consider me? There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely not.
Look like you're going to say something, Dom. I don't want to speak over you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, so yeah, just kind of rolling with it. So not only do you have that piece as far as the stars being nominated, but there is an element of lead learners. And would you talk about what the lead learners are and kind of how that process works for us?
Yeah, think of it, a lot of times when I'm trying to explain what the summit is, I kind of put it in terms of a traditional summer camp. So you've got the campers, the people that are coming that end up being our stars, and then you've got the staff, or what we refer to as the lead learners. And that's about 20 of us that start planning sometime around February 1st. And we plan from February clear through the event at the end of July by forming subcommittees, and they meet offline, well, not offline, but they meet off of designated meeting times, and they plan for their particular section of the event. And then we get back together on occasion to review where everybody is, so everybody's in the know. And if there are concerns, they can be expressed, and we can work through those. And sometimes the committees want feedback on what's going on and want to know from the rest of the group if we think something will work. And we just have really open lines of communication. But the rubber doesn't really hit the road until most people get out of school, any place between Memorial Day and June 15th, it seems like these days. And then everybody gets really busy and scrambling, and a lot of the preparation work happens there in the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks running up to Summit. And of course, when we arrive on campus on Sunday afternoon, it really starts hopping then too, as a lot of things start to come together, as materials are gathered and unpacked from cars, and people can actually pull together things like welcome bags that might have pieces of welcome bags coming from 3 or 4 different locations across the Commonwealth to campus. So it would, I think, amaze people how much comes together at the last second, as well as in the last 8 weeks, as we get ready for the attendees to join us. So
yeah, it's a strong collaborative effort, and that's what's nice about it.
Always. And what most people that have not paid close attention toward the end of the week may forget or may have overlooked that the entire staff, all of the lead learners do this work completely for free. It's their passion. They've all been through the program at some point in time, and they do it for the love of the work. So I'm always been very grateful and blessed that we've had more people apply to be on staff, that we could choose the cream of the crop and bring along the best staff for that particular year and for that particular summit.
Yeah, and the important thing for whether it's staff, whether it's the summit attendees, when evaluations and all that's occurring, it's a blind look. It's all like you do a good job of stripping out all that information. Obviously, it's getting harder and harder that, I post all of my materials to ericverno.com. Like little things like that slip through if people have websites and stuff. And, but for the most part, it's taken on face value, not who it is. And you're looking at, what do they feel like they can bring? What are the sessions they offer? And, and I tell people a true story when we're at Pete and C at Hershey, and you just point blank to me and you said, if you didn't freshen your set of sessions, you weren't going to make the cut. And I'm like, just had that little small voice, like, I should, I'm just going to do 3 brand new ones this year. And I guess I was resting on my laurels a little too much because you were ready to call me out for that. So at that time I was a regional director, and for, people to know, like, it's not a guaranteed in, it's just Scott as KTI chair, it's nominated by the as set in by the president of the PAECT board. He's guaranteed. And then from there it rolls. And then, but for the most part, the slate is wide open every year. And that's the exciting thing too, because again, as I was getting a little rusty dusty there for a couple of years. If it's the same people nonstop all the time, there's a little bit, you need to have new blood, new things pulled in. And like you said about the coming together, I'm sure when we talked to our first time lead learner, for even a lot of them, it was very shocking about how it came together starting on Sunday at lunch, in essence, when we got to campus.
Yeah, and one thing that most people don't put together, they don't realize, in any given year, this was a large year, 6 out of 20. So that's like about 30% of the staff, about a third of the staff turned over this year, which has only happened ever once before. It's usually a little bit smaller number, so it's more manageable, but there's always someplace between, I'm going to say 15 and 20%, it's 15 and 30% of the staff turning over. Because you've got to have some people around that know what's going on so that they can essentially train the new staff, guide them in the right appropriate directions. And so we don't lose the spirit of what we do during the week to accomplish the goals that we're out to accomplish with the KTI Summit, which essentially have remained, the goals and the methodology have remained unchanged for nearly the entire 20-year history of Keystones.
Yeah.
The content's changed, the approach has changed, but the methodology the learning science behind it, I guess, which has never really occurred to me until Jed Hamburger, from superintendent from up in the North Central area, kind of pointed out that there really is a lot of learning theory and a lot of learning science behind it. And I covered not really really put it in that context ever before. So,
well, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
he's doing a lot with being a wordsmith, because he did call you out as a legend tonight, just so you know,
Yeah.
in case you missed
Yeah.
that during your deal.
I don't know about that. I saw that go by, and I'm not sure I'd have gone that far. But thanks, Jed.
Hey, well, listen, it was a little
Yeah.
L at least. Okay. So it wasn't
Yeah.
a big L. So all right, you got a little bit of growth to do.
Oh, definitely a legend. I mean, way back in the day, I remember I went in 2009 as a learner and an attendee, and then was a mentor back then in 2010. And I'd always, followed you on social media, and you've always been someone I've gotten ideas from and whatnot. So you are definitely a legend.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.
All right. And then
Always
the
trying
other
to look forward
references-
to what's next. So,
and the other reference is Papa Keystones, as we'll talk about Mama Keystones here in a little bit. But the one comment I made to somebody is, really when we look at KTI, it's bigger than any one of us.
Right.
It is this big thing, but it takes all of us to make it happen. And it's like, there'll come a point in time where, one or two of us, we're not able to make it, or different things happen, and it's still going to roll. It's still going to be what it is. It's because, like you said, the passion project side, it's just the people in PACT. It'd be interesting to look at those numbers. How many were KTIs? We have so many in our population as far as an organization, that if anybody was asked to kind of go in that position, that passion would step up. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And the learners, the attendees, whenever they come in, they start out not really knowing what's going on, but not even by the end of the week, even before then, they're contributing, and the lead learners are taking information away and learning from them too. So it's a great, symbiotic, it would be the proper term, but there's a definite back and forth. And even the learners and attendees are contributing to the whole process. They may not realize it, but
right.
Everyone's picking up from them also.
Right. A lot of give and take there. And I should note too, that while we kind of implied that it's strictly Pennsylvania educators, we do have a path for out-of-state educators, that if they can make it to Shippensburg, that they can attend KTI Summit. So that's not always clearly out there, but you just have to contact me. We run some of those applications through our PACT's out-of-state regional board. So that's there, and it's we do that for basically K-12 classroom teachers, and then we've also done that out of state and in state for our friends in higher education, working in ed tech and things like that, giving them an opportunity to come. So we've got pathways for anybody interested in innovative teaching with technology to get to Summit, as long as they can get themselves to Shippensburg University.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Well, so listen, we could have a conversation about this the whole time, and Dom and I, Dom and I could talk.
Yes.
We tied our hands behind our back, so we could talk a lot. But I think it's better if we pull some people in who've been through that experience to kind of share about it, and let's hear straight from them tonight. So let's go ahead and welcome some important guests to the pod tonight. Damn, there we are. All right. Okay. Exciting stuff. All right. So on my screen, I'll just introduce from, I can't break the ladies first. Sorry, Mike. You're first on my screen, but I got to call on you last. So I'll go right to left on my screen. So Julianne, please introduce yourself and tell us what your day job is.
Hey everyone, I'm Julianne Lowenstein, and my day job is I teach French to middle school students.
That just, we should unpack that for a little bit, but the couch is on order. We don't have it just yet. All right. So kicking back over next to her, we got Amy. Introduce yourself, and what is your day job?
Hi, I'm Amy Slyman, and I teach academic literacy to 7th graders.
Couch number 2 on the order. All right. Okay. And finally, queuing it up, Mr. Hardisky.
Hi, I'm Mike Hardisky. I teach at Lincoln Environmental Magnet High School, and I teach chemistry and anatomy.
All right. Not in the middle school setting, not as much unpacking in the couch needed, but still in and of its right. So, all right. So we'll kick off with Julianne, just because you were an attendee. I'm looking there. I don't have my notes. So KTI Star 22.
Yes.
And you immediately turned around and applied for lead learner. Why?
So it's actually something I didn't think about doing. At first, I saw it on the screen, and I thought, this would be cool to apply to be back, just because I had such a great experience as a star myself. And I remember walking out and just thinking, wow, these people understand me. They get me. I had never felt like I was part of something so much. And so I had taken a picture of the lead learner application. I had it in the back of my head. And then the time the applications rolled around, I thought, I don't know if I'm really the person to do this. I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if I have that much to share. And somebody who I won't name, who may be in this room right now, said to me, you have a lot to share, and kind of yelled at me for saying that I didn't have so much to share. And, I started thinking about it. I was like, all right. And I went home that day and I just knocked out my 3 sessions really quick. And I was like, oh, these are so exciting. I can't wait to share this. And I started realizing, I do all these cool things in my classroom that I think not everybody knows about, or that everybody does know about them already, or that I don't have anything new to share. But I really do have a lot of valuable insight to share with others. And so for me, applying to be a lead learner was definitely out of my comfort zone. And I had a little bit of imposter syndrome going into it. But on the other side now, I see that I was meant to be there and had a great experience.
That's awesome. Not the name drop, but Dom and I did hang out for like almost 2 hours with Coy Bowles, having a little conversation. But in that interview, it was really interesting about how he talked about as a musician, they're 100% when they meet somebody, they immediately go into their what are their roots of music, who have they played with, because that's a form of like identity and knowing who they are and who you're going to be jamming with. And we said like teachers aren't really like that. Like we don't tout our stuff. We don't put our accolades out there because we're just a little bit more, I think, reserved in that fashion. So just you realizing that I think it's such a huge stepping stone. And I think this year from PAECT to ISTE to KTI, the way the storytelling and sharing people's stories is huge, because I'll just say it like this, take no offense, but we're horrible at doing that. I just feel like we just don't do a good job of doing that.
And that was Thursday and Friday. Whenever I was there, that was the message that was coming out. There is no such thing as just a classroom teacher. And that's something that a lot of people take for granted. They don't give themselves enough credit as to what they can contribute to the conversation and to others. And that's something we have to stop taking for granted.
Yeah. So your first experience as a lead learner, what kind of thoughts, surprises, how did it change you? How did it affect you? How did you leave Summit with that?
So I've had some time to reflect about my experience as a lead learner these past few days. And just, I think the amount of growth I saw in myself this year versus last year is even more, which is crazy, because I remember leaving last year as a star with so many ideas and thinking, wow, this was such a transformative experience. But this year, I'm just really been able to reflect on myself as an educator, but also in my life in general, I think, which has been really pretty cool. Just the connections that I've made are awesome. The fact that I'm here on the pod right now isn't something I would normally do. So stepping out of my comfort zone and just doing that over and over again has been really cool, and something that KTI has kind of brought out in me, putting myself out there in front of a bunch of people that I wouldn't normally do that. I know when Dom was talking a little bit about that symbiotic relationship, I thought back to one of my sessions I was going through, and just people in the room were contributing. There was only a small handful of people in there for that session. And I was, I'm not sure how this is going to go. And just going through it, just seeing their excitement about what I was sharing, and then the ideas they were giving me. And I was like, oh my goodness, I could do this. I could do this. I could do this. And so it was just that idea that everybody was contributing and sparking those ideas. I think somebody said the one night, KTI is that yes and. moment. And so I often have those crazy, outlandish ideas that I want to do in my classroom. And then my coworkers are like, okay, but how can we make that happen? But instead, KTI is, okay, cool, let's add this to that. And so I think that's the really neat thing that I got out of KTI as well, is just having those passionate people who are there to support me in my crazy endeavors.
No, very good. I think it too. It's kind of neat. Not only as a lead learner, you're giving of yourself and sharing the different things, but there's still moments where you get to sit back and absorb and still take some things in, so that's really cool. You can tell the excitement.
I also think one of the really neat things for me this year was just seeing the stars grow and seeing the impact that I was making on them, and seeing certain things that I said or taught them or showed them, and then them running with it and doing something was a really neat experience for me to just see that growth, because I think often, middle schoolers don't always show you their appreciation for your teaching. Once in a while I have some who really, are very mature and tell me how much I meant to them or what they got out of my lesson or, the year with me. But I think the neat thing was at KTI seeing those stars grow, and you could really see it because adults, teachers, they're used to that, and they were willing to share their growth as they went through, and you could see it.
Excellent. Great stuff. Love the excitement. So now I'm gonna hold off on you, Amy. I'm gonna jump over to Mike, and then we're gonna come back to you. All right. So Mike, is it a typo on your screen that you got a star of 2016 and a star of 2023?
No, that is not a typo.
Not a typo.
Nope.
So you were a star coming in 2016, and you decided to come back. Why?
I realized how impactful KTI was on it. When I left in 2016, it was a springboard towards new things, putting myself out there, like everyone has said. And then coming back in 2023, I realized the treasure that was there. All of the great sessions, you're back on the cutting edge of technology. And I just needed that again.
Nice. So, all right. So let's go back to 2016. You get the nomination, and leading up to it, talk about, did you have excitement, reservations? Where were you at?
Definitely reservations. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. A good friend of mine was pushing and pushing and pushing. He said, no, you need to go. No, you need to go. I'm like, okay. So I went through the whole thing, and it was life-changing. Once you experience it, it was life-changing. You see the world in a whole other mindset. And yeah, I got pushed through it, and it changed. Yeah.
So then now fast forward 2023, you didn't get a nomination this time. There was an email, I believe Scott put out at some point, and you saw that email. And how quick from the email to you clicking the button and filling it out? How fast did that happen?
Probably within an hour, because I realized what KTI was in hindsight, and the value that it has. I think the second time going through, I took much more away from it because I knew what the potential was, and I took a ton from it. And now I can move it even further forward. Like if you go through the whole summit the first time, you move forward a little bit. But then if you look at it again, you're like, oh, wow, I can do amazing things with this. And you can move it 2-3 times further and extend that to your classroom and your students and go, wow, look what I just learned.
Very cool. So now here's the question to you. Are you going to sit back and wait another 2 or 3 years for the ability for an alumni to attend, or are you going to fill out that form for lead learner? Where are you at on that scope?
That's a very good question. I'm teetering back and forth.
That's what I get. It's what I get paid nothing to do here.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I've seen how hard those lead learners work, and how much they dedicate their time and effort into making sure that every class of KTI comes out successful. And some years you get just burnt out by teaching, and you don't have the energy required sometimes to do that. But I think after doing this the second time, my application is going to go in, because I think I have stuff to share. I think I have what it takes to do what they did and what I've seen now twice over, and put in that work. Because I think that putting in that work is worth it for that next class of coming out of KTI, because they need to understand what they have in front of them, what the sessions mean, what the lead learners are trying to offer them.
Yep. And I think I would dissect the I think I have, and it's an I thing. So you individually think it's a mental thing. And a lot of us battle that with it. It's a block sometimes we have. We don't think, like Juliana, she alluded to it earlier, just referencing, oh my gosh, she got all fired up. She's writing these things and she got so excited, and how she was in the different meetings. We all experienced that block,
Yeah.
So that's cool to hear though. Yeah.
And it's a good answer, because it'll be at least 6 years until you have a chance to come back again. So
I don't know if I can wait that long.
That's what he's trying to push you.
Yeah.
All right, that's the Papa Prod right there.
Yeah. There is a lot of effort that's put in by the staff and the lead learners, but you get a rush. It's, like going to Pete. I got to go to ISTE for the first time, going to some of the regional ed camps and the regional conferences. You're going and you're meeting like-minded people. And even though, like you said, it can wear you down, you get rejuvenated. And even though this is a lot of work, and I know like the attendees wrap up their day, they kind of go decompress, and the lead learners go back into meetings and plan for the next day. Even though it wears you down, there's still a lot of energy coming back into you and like feeding back into the system, because you're with a lot of people who are excited and learning off of you, and you're learning from them. So it is a way to kind of re-energize, even though it does drain you a bit.
True that. All right. So we do have a third guest, I guess almost fourth guest here. So Amy, you've been waiting patiently, sitting there thinking, I'm sure they thought, they stole that answer. Oh, they stole that answer, right? We all have those moments. So what was the moment when you found out you were nominated?
So the KTI star from my building from last year, actually, our principal asked her who they thought they should nominate, and she said me. And so her homeroom is right across the hall from mine. So she said, "Hey, you're going to be getting this email." So I knew I was going to be nominated before I actually received the email. So that was actually super helpful. And I have no idea exactly why I'm being nominated. And so I actually asked her that question. She's like, because you ask me more questions. She's our tech coach in the building. You ask me more questions about how do I put this technology in my classroom than anybody else in the building. You're always willing to play, to participate, to at least try it, even if it doesn't work. So that's why she's like, yes, please, please, please send her.
Awesome. Of course, when you're saying that, my brain goes to, did anything go flying at you? Was there any stars presented or anything, or she just told you?
No, she didn't throw anything at me. She's not
Missed
really, I know, right? She's not really that kind of a person, right. But I've got some things to throw at some people. So
okay. I expect to hear a story from you down the road. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Okay. Of course I'm sure I like to toss things. Okay. So yes, it's definitely an affinity to that. It's not officially one in the book of the love language, but hey, I'm right there with it. So, all right. So then you found out you were going to be, so as you're going through, so leading up to that week or two before, talk about, where were you at? And as far as, coming in, cause Julianne, she was last year, Mike was coming in for the second time. So you were just hot off the KTI star nomination griddle and you're rolling into campus. Where was your mindset kind of coming in?
My biggest worry was that I didn't pack enough or the right things. that was probably my biggest worry. I've been to a lot of like sleepaway camps, and I went to college really far away. And also, as weird as it sounds, like I thought this is being put on by teachers, so it's going to be fine. I just have to make sure I have all the right things. So I have all my school supplies to get there. So that was probably my biggest thing. And then also, probably maybe to some people's surprise, I am a little bit of an introvert. But once I'm comfortable that I'm more outgoing. So I think the biggest worry was, am I going to make friends? Am I going to meet people? And am I going to be alone through the week?
I always find interesting how, as adults in a learning situation, how we have those moments that, the kids we're working with all day long, have those moments and those thoughts. And, you can really like that empathy moment where you can put yourself in their shoes and down the road. So, but I mean, I'm just going to throw this out there. I believe you got a mailing with it was like what? It was like longer than Santa's list of kids' names as far as the packing list went, right? Like, I'm pretty sure there was a very thorough packing list.
I may have read that every morning while I was eating my breakfast for like 2 weeks. I'm that kid.
they don't put the games and the cartoons on the back of cereal boxes anymore. So you got to read the back list. Okay. All right. Cause that's been like curated and like combed over and like to the T over the years. Thank you, Karen Steigerwalt, the nerd of PAECT.
That's right. I still had the email. I still had to email Scott one question about soda. I was like, man, is there going to be Diet Pepsi there? Cause I'm pretty sure I need that.
That's funny. Yeah. Okay. So then you get there. Obviously, we won't talk about the entry, but it's the highlight of your life, I'm sure. As far as
having you yelled at me.
It's all in love. We'll move on. Fast forward. Hit the tape. Fast forward. Stop. Bleep her out. So anyway, I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll take that out on the edit.
That's yeah. We'll work on that one. And yes, I have some fun with the campers.
Yeah.
So then you roll into like Monday dinner, and then you start. So when was so you had the nervousness and you were, will I meet people? Will I fit in? What was the point where you hit, where you kind of like those kind of thoughts kind of subsided? You're like, nah, I'm good.
Can we, I just want to ask the question before I spill any beans. All right. So can we talk about like how we walked into dinner? Like how we got into seats? Is that legal, or do we want to
defer to Scott on that one?
Yeah. I want to make sure that
I believe that could change up, so you could talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go very vague.
I want to step in. Reason why she was asking is there's a mystique to the whole process, and we don't want to ruin it for future attendees. So that's why we're checking in for permissions and whatnot, because we don't want to ruin it moving forward, and we don't want people being afraid of Verno and the beard not putting in because they don't going to get hollered at by him. He hollers at me enough. It's all bark, no bite. So don't worry about Verno.
It was a fun yelling at. It was fine. I got out of my car where I shouldn't have. That's all.
I paid her to say that. Moving on.
So when we walk,
all right, let's talk about Monday.
When we walk into dinner, just like that first day of class, when you're like, I don't know where I sit. And while we didn't have quite assigned seats, there were some things put in place that got us to tables where we could meet with a group of people that were maybe semi like-minded, and do some things with them. So we were placed at a place where you didn't have to choose among all the tables. We at least got to be in a smaller setting, with a fewer people to get to know those people. So that was super helpful. At that moment is when I knew I'm okay. They're going to make sure that in the moments where I need to have a specific spot, I'm going to have a spot.
So it's like that concept of differentiated seating, right? We just chose a different way that you were able to choose where you were sitting, and it's kind of interesting how it works out and how the gelling does occur. So, but yes, in the way that Monday night crew, like Scott alluded to earlier, there's different committees, different people step up to do different things, and that's your lane, and it's just amazing how it comes together. And I never jump onto that because there's different things that I usually have to do to get things kicked off. They do such a wonderful job, no matter what the mix of people is. It's always cool. So there are some elements that will cross over from year to year, but then some new things pulled in, some new wrinkles. So Yeah, so it's just a cool time. So then you had that group, so you felt at ease there, and then the last thing I'll kind of talk, and then I'm going to hit everybody. At what point in the week was it where you kind of like hit that switch where comfortable, excited, and then you were like, you know, the switch just twisted, and you were like all about purple power, which is our theme color for KTI.
I'm not sure what day it was. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday. They all kind of
They bled.
blur. They all kind of blur together. I think it was Tuesday. I think it was the second session that I went to, where I never heard the term gamification before. That was a brand new term to me. It wasn't like a new concept, but it was a new term for me. And so it was in Melissa's session that I actually went to, and that was kind of the switch for me. That got me super excited about just like being part of this team. Like there is nothing like being in a huge room full of educators who all have things to share, and they all allow you to share as well. So it was just amazing.
Oh, very cool. All right, Julianne, we'll go to you. And think back when you were a star in 22.
Ooh, okay. I was thinking of this year, so now I have to think all
All
over.
right, well, what were you going to say for this year? Go ahead.
I was going to say for this year, I think one of the moments for me was just seeing stuff that I had spent weeks preparing go into action, and just seeing how it came together for me was just really cool. And I think someone said it really well in that everybody kind of takes their lane and does their piece. And I was on that Monday night crew, so my stuff came quick. But I think just realizing I don't have to just throw myself into everything. I can stick on what I did well, what I prepared for, and then just seeing it come to light was really cool. As a star, I'm trying to think. I think for sure there was the first day everybody was very excited, and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? I do remember Monday night, I was still super anxious to be there. I went back to my dorm, and I went to my room, and I went to sleep and woke up the next morning. And then by Tuesday night, I had my group of people. So I don't know if I could say what exactly switched it over, but I think just having people look out for me, being there. My roommate, I don't know, Kelly, if you're listening, she was awesome and kind of included me in everything. And that was nice to have somebody who was, already had a few people to string me along and get me out there talking to people.
Yep, and that would be let me stutter a little bit more. That would be a hat tip to our committee that does the rooming.
Yes.
With the welcoming, like I don't know, there's some secret sauce there that I don't even know that just ends up pairing people up that just they hit it off. So it's super cool always hearing those stories. All right, Dr. Hadisky. So you got two experiences to go from. You can go this year, then compared to the 2016, you could do 2016 to this year. When was that point in the week where kind of that the switch flipped?
In 2016, when that switch flipped, was when I got partnered up with a mentor, Mr. Bundy, who took a group of us under his wing, and we're like, look, we're going to do this together, blah, 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 blah. And I knew at that moment I had a lead learner that was going to look out for me and make sure that I succeeded in my endeavors and in my ideas. So definitely getting paired up with a lead learner at that time was the switch. This year, the switch was during one session that discussed AI's capability. And I was like, I know I am on the cutting edge of ed tech when they're talking about AI and how it can be used sort of as a dual sword, right? So there's good points to AI and there's bad points to AI. And sitting through that session, that's what clicked and went, wow, I cannot, next thing forward is research. Like that's it. You're standing at that edge of what's known, and it's really awesome.
Yeah, and the behind the scenes baseball I'll definitely I'll say, like, when everybody first put in their sessions, AI wasn't really being talked about because it kind of hit after sessions were submitted. So that was even, I would say, Scott, that was a KTI, we'll jokingly use the French pivot, but definitely was like a little bit of a pivot where we were like, we need to have AI in here. And, we reached out to individuals, one of our sponsors offered up somebody to come in. And so, so I don't know, what are your thoughts about the AI piece there, Scott? Anything to add to that?
No, that was just you know, an example of how the depth of this year's staff that we were able to turn to a couple of this year's lead learners. And I only thought we'd ended up with 2, but I guess it was more like 4 sessions over the course of the week where we got to talk AI. So people had, if they missed one, they had a chance to join in with something else. And our friends, our partners at EdgeAspire helped us out with the one. And then we had 3 other lead learners that tied in AI in some way with what they talked about throughout the rest of the week. So just a testament to how forward thinking and cutting edge lead learners are when they get selected to be on staff.
Yeah, definitely pretty cool. And yeah, like you're right, with all those different sessions that were being offered and how people were able to just adapt, adjust, and honestly, we have to be on the forefront teaching. It's something new. We're going to be, so many situations we're going to experience with it this year. So it's better to have that educational knowledge. So, all right. So now hitting, this is a tough screen for me to put up. This one always gets me. Even at KTI, I had to kind of pull away from the big screen when this was up. So Amy is not only here as a member, she's also the CEO. No, so she's not only a KTI star 2023, but she also is. This would be the third, wouldn't it?
So it'd be the third.
The third recipient of a very special award, and I'm going to let Scott take the helm on this one. So let me add to the stream here. All right, Scott, would you take the helm?
Sure. Thanks, Eric. So many people know or are aware that Rosie Parmigiani is one of 2 staff members that was with the program from its inception in 2004, clear up until her passing during the pandemic in 2020. Rosie Parmigiani spent a lot of time, poured a lot of time and energy into making the Keystone program the success that it is today. And a lot of the reasons are listed here on the screen right now for the things she brought to the table. And through her career as a classroom teacher, reading specialist, working into administration and then working into the college level in her retirement, working into the college level to make sure college kids were getting the background they needed in ed tech so that they were ready to jump into the classroom. She was all of these things and tried to instill these in others to make sure that they were getting the best experience possible from wherever they encountered her. I have no doubt in my mind that she was displayed these qualities as to her students, to her staff, and to her adult students as they were preparing to become teachers. And she actually displayed a lot of these qualities with us, Eric. I think you would agree, in different capacities and at different times as a lead learner with the rest of the lead learners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Just those little moments where she knew just to say something or pull somebody in or give somebody a pep talk or a hug. Like she just, that natural supportive piece is so huge. Really was. Yeah,
definitely. So for the last 3 years, after her passing, the PAECT board wanted to recognize her in some way, and we thought Keystones was the right place for that to happen. So for the last 3 summers, the lead learners have been watching as the week goes on, looking for recipients that embody these qualities, and somebody always rises to the top. And there's always a mix of people for us to pick from. And the debate took a little longer than usual this year, but for good reasons, because we had a lot of really strong candidates coming in that we had to discuss and decide who was just at the top, because we only had the capacity to really award one. And we were excited to bestow this award on Amy Slyman this year.
Amy. Woo.
Amy.
She had her moment. I saw.
Mhm.
I was gonna pull up the pictures. I didn't get them in time. Having some pictures up front. So, what went through your mind when your name was said, Amy?
Well, as Scott was kind of going through the like list of why the person was chosen, I was kind of listening, and like he said one thing, and I was like, oh, that's not me. Like I was like, so I kind of didn't stop listening, but I was worried. I was working on filling out one of the like reflection surveys, so I was like, and then all of a sudden, he said something that I knew was like that was me. Like I helped my roommate make a shirt at one point in the middle of the week because she had forgotten hers.
I heard about that.
And so we got like tape, and I was like, let's just make it happen. Come on, let's make it happen. And I was like, and that's the moment when like I think all of the emotion hit me. And I think you said it earlier in the pod that as educators, we so often don't see ourselves as extraordinary. And in that moment, when you're recognized as having these qualities and being recognized for, honestly, I just was trying to be my authentic self the whole week. Like I wasn't trying to be anything special. And as educators, I think so many of us just do that. We just bring ourselves every day to that classroom, and to be recognized for being who we are is an amazing moment. So I was at like I don't even really still have words for it. It's still kind of processing.
Sure.
So with it comes a cash award that Amy's going to be able to do with as she pleases to extend some practice or something she learned in at Summit into her classroom. So it's on my radar. We'll be working on that, Amy, but you can guarantee that cash award's coming your way.
Awesome. I already have plans.
Okay.
Yep. And in a couple of weeks here, we have our state board meeting. So your name will be presented. So the state board will, officially acknowledge that you've gotten the award, and the amount of people on the board that were close with Rosie, it'll touch them. It's always an exciting time. So what's cool is kind of how Amy said it, how Scott shared, like on Monday night, their first time in, we do a little activity, we switch venues. We kind of close it off, and during a presentation, Scott shares, basically very similar to what he just shared with us tonight. And we let him know. And I always joke, it's like Monsters Inc., like where Roz goes, we're always watching. And that's really what it boils down to. And, every night we'll talk about it. Hey, who did you see here? Who did you see here? And names kind of get compiled, kind of a thing in our minds. And you can start honing it in. But so the cool thing is for Amy's side and just sharing the humility she has. She didn't know. It's not like she was putting on an act. She was just being her. And that's what's great about it. Like you go back to like all the, Dom and I always joke with the football stuff, but like the Lombardi quotes of like integrity and all that. When nobody's looking, are you doing the right thing? Like this award resembles that concept very much as well, because, we're taking notes and not letting you know that we're taking notes, kind of a thing. So, and as Scott said, like the names were there, and there was a, it was just a debate because there were a good pool of candidates. There was a lot of people that we saw doing a lot of good things. And then you kind of shake it out. You share with this, like, and you go through those and like who gets it. So, so it's definitely not an award to take lightly. Like trust me, you earned it 100%. It's not a joke. So take that, as you go in and like, this is behind you. I did this here. I could be me and do what I got to do, what's best for kids everywhere. So it's awesome. So congratulations. It's really exciting for you to have the Rosie Award.
Thank you.
Yeah, very cool. So, and hopefully the check doesn't bounce, Scott. Make sure it's,
I'll be working on that. So,
We don't have a big check. No, you're not gonna get a big
Nope.
one in the mail.
Yeah,
It's
no.
just regular. We don't have
Just a
the
little
fancy
one.
stuff.
This would be really expensive to send in the mail.
That would. So that's funny. We'll show up at your door. Ah,
Yeah.
just open-
Eric can
Yes,
deliver it with
Please,
your
can
coffee.
you all come? All of you.
We'll all show up. That's funny. We'll teach your class for the day. Whatever. Just kick back. We'll sign the waivers. Make sure we're good. So that's awesome. A lot of great stuff. So we'll go down the line here. We'll go with closing thoughts. So let's start off with Hardisky. Closing thoughts on closing the books on 2023 KTI Summit.
It was again another changing experience. It's springboarding some ideas that will possibly lead to publications. I mean, that's how serious of the cutting edge stuff that I took away from KTI this year, that we can definitely do some research with some of the stuff I've learned.
Awesome. Julianne?
I think I just want to reiterate that it was a transformative experience. And I think, for myself going into it, I heard that a lot. And I was like, okay, these people are crazy. This is a conference. I'm not going to change that much. But just, I think, go in, if you're going next year, go in with an open mind, go in ready to learn. And I think just the amazing things I've been able to do in just 1 year, from being a KTI Star 22, I presented at ISTE this year, and I'm already cooking up ideas for Pete and C. I'm excited about that, and just being able to share my excitement and be excited with others, and that passion, I think, is really cool. And there's a bug.
All right.
Sorry about that.
All right. I was going to ask everybody else. Did she try to hit you guys too, or was it just me? All right. So, Amy, you're talking a lot, but listen, we're paying you to talk right now. I guess we can jokingly say. So, your closing thoughts on 2023 KTI?
I think all I really have to say is you have not seen the last of me. So I've been bitten pretty hard by the KTI bug, and I can't wait to see how I can kind of get involved and continue to make a difference.
That's awesome. I love
That's
hearing
great.
that. That's great stuff. All right. And Scott, final word, closing the chapter of the 2023 KTI Summit. What do you got?
Every year is just a notch above the last, and this year was by no means any different. And that really gratified me that this program is alive and well for PACT's benefit, as well as for the benefit of kids around the Commonwealth and around the country and the world, potentially as well. We'll be working hard to make sure that we put on an equally outstanding event in 2024.
All right. So now we got to switch it from Prize Patrol to Summit to close it off. El Capitan, the KTI Summit will return. In
July, but in July, I believe the dates were July 21st to the 25th of 2024.
That's right. So it's alive, well, and we are officially back at Shippensburg.
We are on the books for
breaking news right
Shippensburg
here.
University.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. We truly appreciate it. We love the excitement. And remember, what is it? Tuesday at Pete and C Purple. Is that KTI day normally? It's Tuesday, right?
Usually KTI Purple Day at Pete. Flood that room with as much purple as we can so they don't know what hit them.
That's it. And for the record, yesterday on my front porch, I didn't take a picture and send it to you, Scott. I have 100 purple bags for us to use for the Purple Bag Brigade this year at Pete and C. So, those were delivered and ready to roll. So,
Awesome.
I'll let you know more about that later. They are definitely going to the storage unit in August. Let me tell you. All right. Okay. Well, we're going to kick everybody into the green room. Listen, I do apologize early. Dom is in charge of getting all the refreshments back there. So
yes,
his virtual standings, he's 0-4-32.
32.
So, yeah. So I get what I pay for. So free help. All right.
No coupon code for
much. What's that?
no coupon code for a free coffee at Dunkin'.
That guy. Listen,
We'll get you at the meeting at the state
You and
board
Chrissy
meeting.
Barnes. You and Chrissy Barnes.
Just out of line, I tell you. I don't know what's going on. He pocketed all those. That's what it was.
Verno,
All right, well, thank you
Verno
all.
said he was going to deliver coffee to everybody.
I've been waiting for it. I still haven't had the knock at my door.
Well, listen, Addie's in charge. Addie's the overall captain of coffee. So yeah, I would defer to her. She's rocking at that. All right. Well, thank you all so much for the 5th time for being here. We truly appreciate it. And so hopefully, August 15th will be the next one. And we're going to have a few more stars to kind of round out the month and talk about KTI. So thank you all for your time tonight.
Night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the awkward where we bump them one by one.
Yes.
All right. And so they know that they can, if they need to take off, they can. It won't ruin the show. All right, Dom, a lot of good stuff shared. Just wild stuff,
I know. Kind of to paraphrase War, I'm slipping into darkness. Some of my lights went out. I have to charge them in between episodes.
I tell you, we gotta set up a Patreon account so you can pay for your lights. I don't know what's going on.
I run an extension cord from my neighbor's house. I think he tripped over it, going back and forth between the yards.
He didn't think you were doing a good job on the pod tonight. You didn't need electricity. He's shutting you down.
Yeah, I want to add something about KTI because I went way back when it was run by PDE, and the relationships made back then are still active today with many of the people, and it's something that as people put comments, it's life changing. It's dramatic changes. It's true, and the relationships that you are building will stick with you for a long time. And, that's what got me involved in PAECT, through some friendships, and then really KTI got me pulled in. Even though PAECT wasn't the sponsor back then, but it was an integral part. The people that were the lead learners or mentors at that time were PAECT members.
Yeah.
So it is something that's going to stick with you. It's not a one and done. The relationships you make, it's going to be a strong network, and that unto itself, as an educator, it's going to help you grow even beyond that 1 week.
Definitely. I'd say mine, the KTI experience, and then going to Pete and C, trying to connect. And then, I finally just got sick of nothing happening in the South Central region. I drove all the way to Philly for my first PAECT regional event just to shake the tree and make something happen. And then, went downhill from there to, volunteering, helping, being on the regional board, regional director, and then running for VP. And just because, I believe in the program, I believe in what we do. And that's what's awesome. Like when I was talking about it, I even said to Scott, like, I hope this doesn't sound demeaning. I'm going to refer to KTI as a passion project. I just wanted to make sure, like, it's not this little thing. It's this huge thing. But the passion a lot of our PACT board members have for it, it's not going anywhere. We're going to do, just scratch and claw, make sure we can keep it running. And the other thing is we need the Amy's, the Juliannes, the Michaels. We need all the different people that are stars to say, you know what, I want to step up and I want to add my
voice,
essence, whatever, my 2 cents, my abilities to KTI. Cause like I said, that's what makes it so special every year, and it's funny sitting back in those meetings. Scott and I will talk, like, the group comes together. Some people know each other. Some people have never known each other. As the meetings are happening, committees are set, things are happening. There's always a point where a gel happens, and it's just, the lack of a better phrase, it's magical to kind of sit back and watch, and it's different every time. And I think this year my line was, it's happened. Did I miss the point? Like, it just came on fast, and it happened in the point, and then, like, just got better, and just confirmation points as we were going through. Cause there's a lot of meetings to prepare for a long week. Cause we want to make sure the best product gets put forward for the educators that come in.
Well, meeting with the Southwest stars, listening to them talk, and they're already working with each other, and they connected, and like, I could help out with this if you need help with that. And, they're already networking, and they're already building that relationship beyond the week that, they had at Shippensburg. And it's nice seeing that. And, we have an event coming up in August. It's on PACT.org. We're going, us and Northwest, and anyone else who would like to join us. WQED Studios. It's free. And then we're having an after event at Permane Brothers to meet the new KTI stars. It's August 16th. So check PACT.org to sign up. It's a free event, both events. But, they were already talking about, when can we meet up? Some people can't meet up. Like, we want to get together another time. We'd like to have these events, and they're giving ideas out. And it's great to see that camaraderie building already. Because that is, as you always say, the strength of PACT is in its membership.
And we have awesome members. We do.
Yeah.
So that's why I put up there. We didn't have time to go through, but the Spark page, bit.ly/all caps PACT, all lowercase, EVENTS. So bit.ly/PACT events. Check that for all of the PD opportunities. Our regional directors meet with their regional boards. They put that together every month. I know South Central has something coming up just after. It's after our next, August 15th is our next pod. I believe it's actually the 16th as well. That we have an event going on up in near Harrisburg. So just make sure you're checking that out. Go to PACT.org. Click on calendar, free members, premium members, log in, check it out, stay active. And if there's nothing happening near you, reach out to your regional directors, pitch an idea. Like Dom's saying, these ideas are coming to him. They get excited about it and they're moving forward.
Yeah. And I know the other regional directors are the same way. Even if we can't be at an event because the regions are rather large.
Yep.
But we'll support it. We might not be able to be there, but we can help support it. We can help organize it. We can get them on the calendar, get word out through the newsletter. Like tomorrow night, KTI chat. It's free. It's on Twitter. You can be there from, anywhere. That's on there. We have the merchandise store is up through tomorrow, I believe. KTI stores, that's up through tomorrow, I believe.
That is. And I actually, hold on. I was getting lost and I realizing I forgot to ask our members about something, but I did have this to go up here because I didn't want to forget this because guess who hasn't put their order in yet? Me. Guess who's missed the last 2 orders? Me. So I know 3 strikes, I'm out, Scott. I see him in the green room counting me out on that one. So I need to make sure I get in there and do that. So
all the links are on PACT.org for the pop-up store, for the KTI chat. Scroll down the bottom. There's an events tab. You can see all the events, or just go to the calendar, scroll through the calendar. Events are on the calendar along with the bit.ly that Eric posted. Go to our website, check things out, reach out to your regional directors. There's a lot going on, and we're willing to work with you guys, especially because the regions are geographically large. They're divided up by IUs. If there's something in your area that, as Eric said, things might not be going on in your area, reach out to us. We'll get something going in your section of the region.
Yep.
We're here to provide services for you guys. Reach out to us. We're fully volunteer. We'll talk later about the corporate sponsors. They make all this happen. They fund us so we can have events in and around the state, and such as KTI, online, and a lot of the other stuff. But we'll work with you. Please reach out to us.
All right, here we go. Just reaching out to me through one of our regional director of South Central reached out to me to tell me that August 6th is when the store closes. So that means Verno has more time to procrastinate.
I thought it was the 2nd.
I know. That's right. It's the 6th. And then South Central's event is August 10th. So anyway, so make sure you sign up for that, Scott Snyder. And
August 15th is the Southeastern event.
Southeast.
August 16th, Northwest and Southwest joint event in Pittsburgh.
So a lot of good stuff. So, all right, Don, we're over an hour already. Our banter only goes on for so long until it wears itself out, So what an awesome night. We still have another night, August 15th, to talk a little bit more KTI, but amazing stuff discussed tonight. So I truly appreciate everybody being here. And, it's just always important for us to say PACT.
We are
the voice of EdTech and PA.
And beyond.
Let's thank our sponsors. PACT would like to thank our corporate council sponsors. We'd like to thank EduSpire for being our venture sponsor. Check the next step. Thank you so much for ClassLink for sponsoring PACT. More time learning, less time logged in. And Go Guardian proud sponsor of PAECT. And finally, thank you to Howard Technology Solutions for being our corporate counsel sponsor. We'd like to